Welcome back to Greenlight Cinema. I'm your host Brandon Pacheco, and today we're talking about Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom. Yeah. I know a lot of people are probably like, Brandon, what happened to the Succession? Before I get back into a series, I want to do a movie. So I thought Aquaman 2 would be perfect. My oldest son Riley and we actually did a review for Aquaman, the first movie, back in 2020. So I thought, and I seen it was free on the HBO, so I was like, might as well see what Aquaman 2 is about. You guys are probably gonna hate me for this, but I actually enjoyed this movie. Yeah, for me, this movie succeeded in a lot of ways where the first one didn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and recommend this movie before I get going. It starts out with Arthur Curry, Aquaman, explaining to us what he's been doing since the last one, but he didn't happen to bring... I'm sorry, I just started thinking about it. He doesn't even bring up Justice League, and he doesn't even bring up these in the Flash movie of Ezra Miller. Warner Brothers, I guess, is like, that's too much of a fuck up to bring up for us, so this is what you've been doing. The first movie, and nothing. And nothing. So, I'm sorry. I can't stop laughing about that. So we see Aquaman exactly where the first one leaves him off at. It's like nothing happened between 2017 to 2024. Do you see why I'm laughing now? Between now and then, Aquaman, the first movie, and Aquaman now, Arthur's had a baby. He's gotten married. Gosh, this movie felt like a collage of mini movies. It does that thing that a lot of sequels do, where almost a duplicate of the first movie, and they're trying to replicate the magic of the first one, which there never really was any magic. So it's like they're trying to, it's like they didn't have enough of a budget of the first movie, so they're like all those crazy ideas, and like I don't know, this movie had a lot of James Gunn look to it. Like it looked like I didn't look this up, but it feels like James Gunn was a producer or like a consultant. It's very colorful, vivid, and I don't remember the first one being like that, but it has been a long time since I watched the first movie. This sequel reminds me a lot of the original film because it brings in a lot of the same actors. One being, we have kind of the same bad guy, and I'm going to say kinda because he gets taken over by a spirit. Spoilers. Go ahead and say spoilers right now. But we have Manta, a Black Manta in it. He's in the last movie. I watched this movie by myself. I normally watch the superhero movies with my wife. Last time we watched The Flash. I wasn't too keen on that movie very much, but it has Arthur at the end of it, and they don't touch on that like I mentioned before, and I thought that was a little unusual. It has this movie's kind of like its own thing. I almost wonder if it's going to not tie in with the James Gunn Justice League, or is that another Aquaman for that? I don't know. I'm looking forward to that Superman though. This movie, though, it starts out with Arthur, and it shows him at first and just his baby, and it's like he's living with his dad. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's like a single dad, and the movie almost feels like it's about to say it, but then like Amber Heard pops up in there, and it's like, oh, okay. But if you're anything like my wife, just to let you know, she's hardly in this movie. It's kind of brilliant how they wrote her character off. And William Dafoe's not in this movie. It's like his character, they mention his character got killed. So, and Dolph Lundgren's in this movie, but I couldn't understand a word Dolph said.
Headed to Antarctica.
So, beginning of the movie, it's Aquaman, his dad, his son, and Amber Heard. And they're all happy and living a pretty normal, good life. He's like, I just got married, you know, life couldn't be better. Only I'm having a hard time being a king and also trying to maintain a life up here on land. Because they're like struggling financial wise, because apparently kids are expensive, I would know. So Aquaman's living his best life, trying to go between both worlds, the surface world and Atlantis. While this is going on, Black Manta is still having flashbacks of Aquaman ditching him and his dad, and he's like, screw you, Aquaman, I'm gonna get you back. Randall Park is in this movie, and I was like, okay. He's a scientist stumbling upon geology, I guess. Black Manta, Randall Park, they're like in the Arctic, and they're like drilling around. So the two guys stumble upon, starts feeling like an earthquake around them, and it's like shaky cam, and like a giant ice snake comes out, and Black Manta. It's a beautiful shot. Like, the CG in this is not bad. So next we see that Randall Park's working for Black Manta, and he explains that this old ship they're in, it's like a big giant Atlantean submarine, and it's been retrofitted for the old tech to work. So Randall Park's the Dr. Science guy, and he's like real concerned the whole movie about the environment. Randall Park's character being real concerned about the environment plays a real big role in this movie, kinda. But sometime during the expedition, Manta stumbles upon this black trident. You get this black broken trident together, you put it together, and you have this old ancient Atlantean knowledge and skills, and you're taken over by this old Atlantean spirit, and his character, of course, is bad. We like learned that was the King Atlant's brother, and his brother had like an underworld of his own. He had like an Atlantis of his own, but it was like more underworld and dark, and King Atlant was like, dude, you're too dark and powerful, so I'm gonna like freeze you in your kingdom. This should have been called like Frozen Kingdom, but that would have probably been too close to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. But Randall Park's character explains that ever since that Manta's character has touched the Black Trident, he seems to know knowledge and have powers he never had before. So we see Manta. He's got the Black Trident's evil old world knowledge. Gotta go to Atlantis, go to their special vault, and in this vault there's some type of green glowing MacGuffin thing and it's bad news if this green glowing MacGuffin comes out into a volcano or like on the earth. It causes like pollutions, hurricanes, and storms on the earth, I think. I understood why that green glowing MacGuffin stuff's important. I can't remember for the life of me what they call it though. Manta, he understands his assignment. He knows that it's explained to him, because Manta keeps like thinking about the first movie, how Aquaman did him wrong, and he's like, I'm gonna get him back. It's so cliche on that part. Like that part feels so cliche, like old school bad guy thing. Like, ha, you got me that one time. You bested me that one time, and I'm gonna get you now. Ha ha. It's like, you know, Aquaman. I guess in a way rights his wrongs though. They go back into this movie. So I mean, it wasn't very heroic of Aquaman, but he wasn't at his hero status yet. So I guess these movies are perfect. And so this evil possessed spirit's like, I'll give you better powers and you'll get Aquaman finally. And so he's like, but you gotta go steal this green glow. You gotta go steal the green glowing MacGuffin for me. And I'm gonna puppeteer you the whole way to let you do everything I need you to do so you can bring back my spirit. They don't say that, but you know that's what this movie's driving toward. And I'll be released from my ice kingdom, you know. So here we are, and we see Manta's ship tunneling through Atlantis. He's got the big powerful submarine that's been retrofitted. It's like old Atlantean tech. Manta and his crew, they stole the stuff they need at the vault. Aquaman's mom, chases after him, and then we see Mira, or I'm not sure, Amber Heard's character goes after him, and this is how they write her character. I thought it was pretty smart. She gets like shot through the chest, like zapped right here, and it's like all like she looks kind of screwed up. Like I was like, oh, that's what they do of her. They stow her away till the end of the movie. Jason Momoa's like over Amber Heard, kind of like, you get better, you. Manta and his crew, they like go on, escape. Aquaman is hardly in that scene at all, but visually it looked stunning and incredible. The lasers and everything was a little mind-numbing at first. And I felt like I was gonna get a headache, and I started to panic. I stood my ground, and I finished the movie. I like, though, that part. There's this scene, I wrote this down on my notes. Black Manta, he's so cliche in this movie, but like the actors, so I think they all did a real good job for what they were given. He says, I'm gonna kill Aquaman dead. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm reading something from a 5-year-old. So now Aquaman, he's kind of like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like he's talking to his mom and Dolph Lundgren. And he's like, what am I gonna do? The kingdom don't want to listen to me. I want to help. Aquaman's whole thing is he wants to unite Atlanteans and the surface world. Only the Atlanteans are like, no, we want to take over the surface world. They don't want to listen to him. And he's got a crazy idea. He's like, the only way I'm going to be able to beat Manta is having a team. So he don't think of the Justice League. He thinks of his brother. He's like, my brother, he's an Atlantean, which is smart. Like, he knows this stuff a little better than me. I think Aquaman thinks, oh, my brother, he's got that Atlantean knowledge, and it'd probably be good having a little extra muscle around. So Aquaman's like, I need Orin, and they're all like, no. He was crazy. He tried. Your brother's bad news. But his mom's like not against the idea because that's also her son too. And she's like, you gotta rescue him. But with this comes a quippy squid character that's blue, and you gotta go to a desert cave. Yeah. So Aquaman's on a mission because he knows Manta's stronger, and he's trying to cause global warming. So he needs his brother Patrick Wilson, Orin. Whole Aquaman trying to break out his brother kind of remind me of Thor Ragnarok, where we see Thor and Loki team up. It's kind of a neat little team up situation. It feels like good cop, bad cop. The blue squid creates a distraction, I think, or if I'm remembering wrong, and Orin is only able to have like a cup of water a day because he's so powerful. And we see him, he's like real like emaciated. Like he's like, I am pretty sure this is not Patrick Wilson, or it's like damn good special effects, like Captain America type thing where it's like Chris Evans isn't there, but I just put his face on a guy. But Aquaman bust him out, and Aquaman, the squid, and Orin run from like these guards. They're kind of like running along like, oh yeah, well I still don't like you, and you're still, but we're brothers, but we're still gonna work together. Like they're jabbing at each other, So it's like that's kind of fun. Orin's like, why would you help me? You're the one who put me in here and took my kingdom and my girl. And it's like, oh, I need your help now. Why should I help you? Very cliche. So they get away from the guards. This movie feels so black and white, and like good, bad. It's like Aquaman, good, Black Manta, bad, and back to Black Manta. They keep showing like Manta keeps getting more power. As far as this movie's budget goes, I think they did good. They don't have that CW look to it as bad. Manta, he keeps trying to roll by fear because Randall Park's like, I want to go. He keeps scaring his like people and not letting them go. Like a pirate captain, I guess. I guess it's for the audience because we're like, what's in it for these guys? Like, why are they still here? Why don't they just leave? And they're in like such a deep, dark part of the ocean. Some of his crew are only there because they're so taken by the allure of Atlantis. So once they agreed to help him out, they're like, I want to go. And he's like, okay, try to get your way out of here. And they're like, oh, okay, I see your point. Good one. Back to Aquaman and Orin. They're like in some space pod. And this is like the only time we see them really sitting down. And I'm okay with it. We need a slow scene now. Aquaman keeps saying David Kane is more powerful. David Kane, by the way, is Manta. And so he's like, I really need your help. And Orin's like, David, he's not strong. And so they're kind of figuring out a strategy of what they should do. Orin's like, well, you need to go to the Sunken Citadel, which sounds kind of neat. I like that title. And it feels like a kind of a Jabba the Hutt Blade Runner-esque place. It's underwater still, and it's like this giant, and it's a giant fish slug guy that's big, and he's kind of the boss of everything, and they got like cartoon fish singing, and I'm like, oh, okay, this movie feels like a lot of movies in one. So you get that cliche thing going on again where we're in that seedy bar and we gotta get answers and it's about the whereabouts of Manta. And the fish is like, dude, I'm not talking. And then like shit starts happening and he goes, okay, I'll start talking. And it's like, it's stupid. But it gets us through to the next part. And like Manta is on like some type of island like in the Land of the Lost.
Galactic, my friends.
They go take off and go to the Land of the Lost island. This crazy island that Manta's at is like in the South Pacific. It's got like a Alice in Wonderland look to it going on. Like not exactly mushrooms. See, that's what was missing from making it Alice in Wonderland, and Disney would have been pissed. And apparently that MacGuffin, the green glowing stuff I was talking about earlier, that he extracted from the Atlantean vault, that stuff releases out a toxin, and it's shooting out a volcano, and it's like poisoned all the creatures on the land. So you got giant butterflies and bees and rabbits, and they're all deadly creatures now. I really like the colors in this movie. They're very warm and soft. The color palette to this though look great. The scenes are fun and interesting with a little bit of lighthearted comedy.
Did you bring water?
Yeah. No, sorry. I drank it all the way here.
What?
Bro, it's hot up there.
But going back and forth between Aquaman and Orin. I like how this movie keeps cutting back to Randall Park. Anytime his character gets a chance to have a scene, he's like, I want to leave, to anybody who will listen. We see Aquaman and Orin running around on this radioactive island trying to shut down Manta and his evil operations, I guess. It feels so comic booky. I think around this part of the movies where I started to actually enjoy it. One of the best parts of this movie is when Aquaman and Orin, they get to like where Manta's crew and people are, and Randall Park pops out and is like, I don't want to be bad. I'm a global doctor. Get me out of here. And they're like, phew. They're like, screw you, and laugh at him, and then they explode, and I'm like, oh no, that's so bad. Did Randall Park get blown up? Don't have no powers, that's bad. But Randall Park though, his doctor character, he touches the Black Trident and sees like all that old world Atlantean knowledge, and he's trying to warn them. Like, he's like, guys, there's some bad stuff about to happen. I love the set to this though. It's so Batman. Is this left over from the Flash movie? I don't know. I cheesed a little to myself. I was like, I love it. It's so great. So Randall Park and Aquaman and Orin all get exploded, as I said. And we hadn't had a good action and punching scene, guys, for like 5 scenes. So it's past due. So we see a lot of punching, a lot of kicking. And I guess touching the trident gives you the power of foreknowledge, because Manta's like, let me show up and start kicking you guys' butt. And Orin's like, don't worry guys, I got this surface dweller. He's weak. So Orin gets his ass beat, and he's like all burned up and junk. It's like, oh, I actually thought he got killed, and but like at the last moment, Amber Heard shows up, like the Atlantean cavalry, I guess. They're on seahorses, and they grab up Aquaman, and so Aquaman's mom and his wife come to the rescue and aid and save Aquaman and Orin. So Amber Heard's character is like good now, but they don't let her speak hardly one word. I love this scene though. We have our characters and they're at their low point, I guess you'd say, and oh, we just got our asses beat, so what's the strategy now? And Orin has a small scene where he's like, I touched a black trident for like 5 seconds, and I can tell you expository dialogue from Patrick Wilson's character Orin about the fallen kingdom. The King Atlant had a brother who sought dark power. And his brother's like, you can't be doing that stuff down here. I'm gonna freeze you and your kingdom. So King Atlant breaks the black trident, and somehow that contains King Atlant's evil brother's spirit. So Orin tells him that's what's happened with David Kane, is he's possessed by this evil spirit. Spirits possess David Kane's body, and I guess his end game in all this is that he'll get his kingdom back, he'll get Atlantis back, and maybe take over the surface world. They don't really get into all that. It's like they just know that Kane wants to get back at Aquaman. However, David Kane, he needs their bloodline. So for whatever reason, he don't take it from Aquaman's mom, he don't take it from Aquaman, he don't take it from Orin. He wants to go get Aquaman's baby. They all realize it's blood magic that's got to defeat David Kane, Manta. While they realize all this, we see Aquaman and Orin and his mom like, oh yeah, the baby, that's probably with his dad who has no power, so let's go check on him. They're showing on the TV, global disasters happening now, and the power's cutting off. So Manta shoots Aquaman's dad and takes off with the baby. Yeah. And this is where it starts to feel like another movie. It's like kind of a Ghostbusters 2 thing going on here with Manta. It's like he's Vigo trying to get baby Oscar. And the scene is exactly set up exactly like Ghostbusters 2, it feels like. Manta needs Aquaman's son for this certain blood magic, but also at the same time, he wants to get back at Aquaman for killing his dad. I don't know, is that equal? So Manta blows up Aquaman's dad and blows up their house and takes off with the baby. And just as the house is blowing up and Aquaman's dad's like getting out of the house, he's like, he took the baby, and they're all like, oh. And it's kind of crazy. They're like, his dad, he's not gonna make it. And then like 5 seconds, they're like, he's good. Go on and save that baby, Aquaman and Orin. And his mom says the weirdest thing. She's like, but this time, work together as a team. Hey, wait, hadn't they been doing that throughout this whole movie? What have I been watching? But they're like, we don't know where he's at. And then all of a sudden, Dolph Lundgren goes, and that translates to, I got a signal off the coast of Antarctica. So here we are, finally at the end of the movie. I know, and Aquaman and Orin have a whole Atlantean army with them, which is probably a good thing to bring a little extra backup this time. Like Amber Heard at the end of this movie, she's like in super mama bear mode, and so she has it all with David Kane. And he throws the black trident at her, and she rescues baby Oscar. That's why I want to keep calling him. He looked like baby Oscar. She saves their baby, her and Aquaman's baby, and like takes off. Patrick Wilson, like, he's like, run! I can't hold this black trident no longer! That type of scene. But then, right at that scene, Patrick Wilson's character gets crazed with power, but like they're able to stop him. It's a neat little scene while all this is going on. It's like the global climate disaster still happening, and like so it's like making a hole in the snow and like caves it in. David Kane gets like stuck in there, and Aquaman gets to redeem himself where he didn't in the last movie, and he's like, I gotcha, take my hand, and David Kane's like, see ya. And I was like, okay, that's the way to end the movie. And like while they're all trying to play keep away with the black trident, it gets in to King Atlant's brother's corpse's hand, and so he gets unfrozen, comes back to life, and Aquaman's like, nope, and throws his gold trident that I guess was his brother's, King Atlantis. That overthrows his power and freezes him back up to his frozen hell. It's exactly like Ghostbusters 2. Oh my gosh, with the painting. Only the painting is the Black Trident. Oh my gosh. Wow. So I'm not sure if this movie has any post-credit scenes. I didn't stick around to find out. But I like the ending of it, though. It shows like New York, and he's like, all right, everybody. They're showing like the news, and they're like, we've not heard from Atlanteans in over centuries and centuries. And they're coming out of the water. News is like, and we're gonna talk to the ambassador now. And he's gonna try and combine both land and sea. And they show Arthur, Aquaman. He's like, I'm Aquaman. Hoo-sha. You know, Jason Momoa type thing. But I like his little plan in this. He's like, with our technology combined and the technology on the earth that we already have on the surface, we'll combine it to fix the climate. I'm like, that's kind of neat. The ending to this movie feels like a third act. Like he's like, all right, I've done all 3 movies. Sign off. I'm Aquaman. Bye. And it was a great movie. I highly recommend it. Please check out Aquaman Fallen Kingdom. It's not bad, guys. A little long. Please like this episode if you guys hadn't already, and subscribe to my channel if you guys hadn't already. I appreciate that. All the support helps. All right, guys. Well, that's my review for this. Brando out.